Hi, this is Werner Meier, and we're here at the Woodward Dream Cruise, and the weather gods have cooperated, and we've opened our event to friends and other enthusiasts. Now, Dave is a Corvette enthusiast through and through, but he recently decided to do something a little different. And behind us, you see his restored 1959 Bonneville convertible. This is about as good as it gets. This is a tri-power air convertible. I'm not sure, you know, he bought this car a couple of years ago, and I think he hired Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder to inspect it for him, because when he got it back here, it wasn't exactly what we thought it was going to be. It was red and it looked pretty good. But after it was media blasted, about the lower foot of the car disappeared. And so there was a little bit of reconstruction that had to take place. I'll let Dave tell you a little bit about how this all came about.
Well, what we had to do a donor car to get some of the pieces, which would be part of the firewall and the floor behind the front seats. Everything behind the front seats had to be either got from a donor car or fabricated. So it was a long process. It turned out really good, but it took a long time. Warner had it for about a year in this paint shop, but it was well worth the time spent. The part about being the most expensive paint job he ever had wasn't necessarily where I wanted to be, but that's how it worked.
There's a lot of real estate on this car to level off, and a lot of fabrication that took place, but in the end, you know, Dave picked a great car and stayed the course. If you want to take a look at the inside, this car is really worth looking at. Look at the beautiful instrument panel, the steering wheel. Look at the trim on the door panels. I mean, it's just something that's so typical of that Art Deco area where we just...
The tricolor interior was exclusive just to the Bonnevilles. The standard cars did not have that, the Star Chief and the Catalina.
Can we take a look underneath the hood?
That'd be great.
Yeah, 389 tri-power. You can see the air conditioning, all factory air still here.
Do you guys have to do much with the engine?
I had the engine rebuilt.
Close. Yeah, right behind me here, you can see an example of the Corvette's humble beginnings. This beautiful restored example here is a Corvette that was restored by Gary Williams, who's here with us today. I'm sure he's got some real adventures to tell us about how he got this car looking the way it does today. If you recall Corvette history, these cars were very special in their day. They were in '53. They were all supposedly going to be sold to dignitaries and important people. People like politicians, movie stars, executives, President of Standard Oil, John Wayne, people like that were able to get one of these. And if you weren't somebody special, you weren't able to get one. But by 1954, the public had figured out what a bad deal these cars were. The doors wouldn't lock, they had side curtains, they leaked religiously, and most dealers didn't enjoy the privilege of working on them. And so the car likely would have been canceled by the GM brass had Ford not come to the rescue with the Thunderbird. And to save face and not let the world say that the Thunderbird killed the Corvette, they kept producing Corvettes, and arguably they created a much sportier, better car. But anyway, I want to let Gary talk a little bit about this car here, because it's certainly a spectacular vehicle.
My wife and I purchased this car in 1965, and the reason was prior to getting this, I was driving a '63 split window, which I still cry about, but I worked the Chrysler and they were on my case constantly. So I got rid of the '63 and we got the '54. My wife drove it for about 5-6 years as a summer car, and then when the kids came along and I couldn't keep up with the car because I'm not a mechanic, it was put in storage. And it took I guess my son and I then stripped it down, disassembled it, and we had it then professionally restored. It's been, the restoration was completed, I think, in 2003. So it's still holding up pretty well, but it's getting tired. It's a great car. It's not fun to drive a long distance. I've got the bias tires on it, which keeps you're driving all the time, and but it's fun. I love the design. That's what attracted me to the thing.
Hey, we in the interest of automotive education, we thought we'd share this spectacular 1967 SS 427 that's behind us. It belongs to Bill Hagyard, the lucky owner. This is a very special piece of motoring history. Yeah, this is really the culmination of years of development. Like in 1961, Chevrolet developed the Super Sport option, which was a trim package, bucket seats and a console, and was a very popular option throughout the early 60s. And in 1967, they decided to build the ultimate Super Sport, which is an SS 427. This car's not an Impala. It doesn't have an Impala badge anywhere on it. And all the sales brochures just simply call it an SS 427. It had its own body code as a Z24. Notice the spectacular hood that was only worn by 2,100 and change cars that year. It included the package included red line tires and blacked out trim and the special badging on the front and the back. These cars were kind of stillborn because at the time, if you recall, 1967, you could get a big black Corvette with a lot of motor in it, or you could buy a Camaro, an RSSS Camaro with a big or small block. You could get a Nova with an L79 in it, or an SS 396 Chevelle. So there were a whole lot of cars with a lot of power that were much lighter than this. So these cars were, they only sold 2,100 because they obviously weren't very popular. The youth market was going for the smaller, lighter cars that were quicker. But for those of us that have, girth and height, this is a wonderful way because you could take a couple of your friends that aren't necessarily bilateral amputees, and you can carry them around in comfort. When you're a tall guy like Bill, you can sit behind them and still go and cruise in style. So this is about as good as it gets out here for us middle-aged, racers.
Great.
Bill, what do you think? I mean, you've had the car for about a year now.
Yeah, year and a
Gets
half.
a lot of attention.
Gets a lot of attention. It's a nice car.
This is a 4-speed car. I think it was a radio delete, right?
It was a radio delete car, no power steering, no power brakes. We put power steering, we put Hagyard boost braking on the car to make it a little more comfortable to drive. And it's just a nice car to go out and cruise in.
Can we look under the hood?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Obviously not stock.
Yeah, this is a Chevy crate engine for the front, it appears to me, aluminum
I
heads.
see.
This is not the way the factory equipped it. So this one's certainly a little livelier than the factory configuration. 67, they only had one 427 available in these cars, and they were the 385 horse. They did offer a 425 horse version in 66 and in 68, but not 67.
Nice.
Here we are at the Woodward Dream Cruise, and some more spectacular cars here. This one here happens to be a one-owner car, belongs to Jerre Pendergrass, and it's got kind of an interesting history. Jerre put it, he stuffed it into something that didn't move and put it into storation for many years before he restored it, and it's back out here for all of us to enjoy again.
I did. I bought this car in January of 1965. I drove it until 1971, at which time I had an accident in it. I parked the car in my father's garage, and it stayed there till 2004. I got a hold of Werner Meier, he restored it for me, and I now have two top flights of Bloomington Gold, and I gave $4,730 for the car, which sounds like a bargain by today's standards. But that year teaching school, my salary was $3,900, so I gave more for the car than I made teaching school that year.
This is Nassau Blue, and Nassau Blue was the first color on a Corvette that outsold red. When red became available, it was always the high-running color until 1965 when Nassau Blue won. It's also got the original Kelsey Hayes wheels on it.